If it's Tuesday, voters are voting somewhere, and today that somewhere is Texas, where early voting officially kicks off today ahead of the primary on March 3rd. There are dozens of federal, state, and local races on the ballot, but all eyes are on the race for the U.S. Senate seat, currently held by John Cornyn. He's facing a multi-candidate primary that includes a significant challenge from Texas Attorney General Ken Paxton. Meanwhile, on the Democratic side, State Representative James Tallarico and Congresswoman Jasmine Crockett are the two frontrunners for a chance to take on whichever Republican wins that primary and try to realize Democrats' long-held goal of flipping that Senate seat blue. Joining me now is NBC News Chief Data Analyst Steve Kornacki. So, Steve, all eyes are certainly on this matchup between the frontrunners, Tallarico and Crockett, and Cornyn and Paxton. But could we see a third candidate potentially change the tide in either of those primaries?
Well, there are all sorts of wild cards here. And, Ryan, I think the big story here is not since 2012 have we seen an incumbent senator be denied renomination by his or her party. But there's grave danger for Cornyn that he could be the first since then. Take a look here. We'll start with the dynamics on the Republican side. There is that three-way race here, Paxton, Congressman Wesley Hunt, and Cornyn. Now, the most recent poll, this is from the University of Houston about a week ago in this race. It showed Paxton, the state attorney general, in the lead here. Cornyn 7 points behind, 38-31. Wesley Hunt running a distant third there. Hunt, a congressman from the Houston area, maybe some geographic limitations, among other things, to his support. Now, the problem here for Cornyn, besides just being down 7 points against Paxton in this matchup, is when you go inside of these numbers. One thing that they also measured here was favorable, unfavorable rating with Republicans. Ken Paxton's net favorable rating with Republicans in Texas is plus 50. Cornyn's is only plus 31. Cornyn has higher negatives, significantly higher negatives with Republican voters than Ken Paxton does. And where you really see it in the same poll is when they played out hypothetically a runoff, because, again, Texas, a runoff state. If nobody gets 50% in this primary, the top two run it off. If it's Paxton, Cornyn, this is what the poll found that would look like. 51-40, double digits, 11-point advantage there for Paxton over Cornyn. Now, the argument, the big argument that the Cornyn folks are trying to make to Texas Republican voters here is, hey, this race could be in danger in the fall if Paxton's nominee. He had a 10-year legal battle over securities fraud charges. He ended up settling it with a $300,000 fine. Paxton, as AG, was impeached by the Republican-controlled state house. He was acquitted in the Senate, but they believe, the Cornyn folks say to Republican voters, nominate Paxton. You're asking for potential trouble in the general election. Well, check this out. In the same poll here, they matched up Cornyn against the two main Democratic candidates, Jasmine Crockett, James Tallarico. Cornyn up 2, Cornyn up 1. Then they turned around and they matched Paxton. Paxton up 2, Paxton up 2. The argument from the Cornyn folks is you'll see this effect over time if they nominate Paxton Republicans, but you don't see it in the poll right now. So on its surface, not a screaming alarm bell to Republican primary voters. Maybe the biggest thing that Cornyn's hoping for in this race is the X factor. The ultimate X factor would be if Donald Trump were to weigh in. The president on the sidelines here, the same poll finding a majority of Republicans saying if Trump weighed in, it would make potentially a difference to their vote. You know, can Cornyn convince the president, especially if he makes it into that runoff, to come off the sidelines? Trump doesn't like to back candidates. He doesn't think have a good shot here. A lot of these underlying numbers probably giving the president pause as he looks at this race, too.
Yeah, it seems as though the president likes all of the above right now. We'll see how that plays out in this primary. Steve, thanks as always for breaking it down. We appreciate it.
We thank you for watching. And remember, stay updated on breaking news and top stories on the NBC News app or watch live on our YouTube channel.